Welcome to the lABLEd podcast, a show about disability, illness and difference. I'm Lucy and that's Alice.
Hi everyone. And that's Lola.
So much more than what you see. We all live our lives differently. Kaleidoscope identity. And this is who I'm meant to be. I'm just labelled me. I'm just labelled me.
Can everybody see a record?
I can. It says recording.
Fabulous. Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new episode of the lABLEd podcast. I am Lucy and this is my co-host Alice. Hi, you alright?
Yes.
Good.
I'm a bit flustered because I was like, oh, I'll just see if the dog will go to the toilet before I start recording for 2 hours and ignore her. And we went and stood in the back garden in the rain and she just looked at me and was like, the fuck are we doing here?
Why have you left me in the rain?
Yeah, in that, like, I have never been here before in my entire life. I have no idea what you're expecting of me. The instructions you're giving are in a foreign language. I was asleep. What could you possibly want from me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm no good when you wake me up first thing in the morning and you're asking me questions. So God knows what it's like for a dog.
It's first of all, hardly first thing in the morning. It's fucking 1:15.
Yeah, but it's to a dog, though, isn't it? Really?
She's been up about 4 times. Like she's been up and she's had some breakfast, and then she came and stuck her nose in my face, and then she had some of her squeaky donkey.
General dog admin.
Yeah, exactly. She's been working through her to-do list. We've got a bit of a special. It's not really a special episode. It's a special episode for this first one, but then it's going to be like super run of the mill, and you'll be as bored of our guest as you are of us by the end of all of this.
Yes, we are introducing a new member of the team to this episode, aren't we? Today.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah, we're not getting too big for our boots at all. But we'd like to introduce the listeners to Daisy. Daisy is going to be our resident historian for our. Now what are we calling these episodes?
I've got them on our fancy podcast spreadsheet as history lessons because I thought that was kind of cute.
History lessons, yes.
Yeah.
So me and Alice are big fans of history, and we will be doing the odd episode where we focus on people from history who either had a disability or perhaps people that you don't realise had a disability. So we'll be diving into a few of these profiles of these historical people from history.
Can I just say fans of history makes it sound like we're in a football stadium and we're like, yeah, history!
to be fair, that's what I'm like when I put a Channel 5 documentary on, if I'm honest. Daisy's looking at me like, yeah, I agree. Back me up here, Daisy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, I quite like history.
Yeah. I quite like history. It's just, I don't know what our team colours would be for history, and like would we have serious rivalry with geography fans?
Oh, I don't know. Daisy, do you know any geography fans?
See, that rivalry between history and geography that existed at school also transfers into university as well.
Okay.
I spent my entire degree, mocking my friends who did geography for doing a degree in colouring in.
Brilliant. No, so Daisy's going to bring her expertise to our waffle and basically say, what are you talking about? That's absolute rubbish. Where did you get that from? And maybe put us in the right direction.
Yeah. So, Daisy, do you want to sort of start a little bit? Why don't you just tell us about where you got your expertise from? You're obviously an academic.
Yes, you having to explain where my expertise wrong makes me think in my head, yeah, you don't really have any.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
We are podcasters. I have put that in serious quotes, so it's fine. You don't need any genuine expertise to be here.
We'll give you a certificate and everything if you want, Daisy.
Excellent.
I'll draw
Brilliant.
something on the back of a post-it. It's fine.
Yeah, I must admit, I have previously, entered competitions just so that I might be able to get a trophy or a medal or a certificate.
Me too.
Yeah. So, I did my degree in history. There wasn't a massive amount of disability history around then, but it was a very broad degree that I did in particular. So rather than a lot of places where it's just sort of the wars and maybe some little bit of medieval here and there, we went all over the world, all times of history, but as is probably not a surprise to absolutely anyone, academia is not a particularly accessible career path or place in general. I know. I was really shocked by it as well, as I dragged myself up the set of stairs that led to the disability department in my university.
Oh, honestly.
It was in a building called the Castle.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it was a lovely romantic name, but...
Know your audience as well. It's a disability office and it's up a flight of stairs. Yeah.
See, our disability office at where I started a PhD that I dropped out of. That was nice and accessible on the ground floor and of the library, and it was great, except that it for some reason had like a double set of security doors where like you could only open one when the other one was shut, but you couldn't fit a wheelchair between the two. So you could like it didn't make any sense to me. I never had a problem, but yeah, it's just like once you were inside, it was great and everything was accessible, and it had a little like kitchen area that you could, and it was supposed to be like a place for disabled people to hang out as well as for all of like the staff and professionals to be.
Alice, can I just say you're making us sound really cool? A place for all the disabled to hang out.
Yeah, put them in the corner with the staff so they can keep an eye on them.
With the kettle.
Yeah, but if you were in a wheelchair, you couldn't. Once you, it was like just once you were in, you're fine, but you're there on the other side of the glass wall as well. So you're in a fucking fishbowl, so that everybody can go, oh, look at all the weird disabled people, except for the wheelchair users who have to sit on the outside and go, oh, my friends are in there. Yeah.
It sounds like an airlock on a spaceship or something.
It really was. Again, what do you need double secure like the ones you have for like banks?
Yeah.
I was like, what do you need a double security lock door for the disabled department? Are you worried we'll get out?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. We do contain a lot of aggressive fight the power type energy.
Yeah.
Had to contain that within like a double walls, like a thermos.
Contain it within the airlock.
Yeah. So it's only sensible, really, knowing what has now happened now that we've been allowed out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's for their own safety.
So anyway, Daisy, yes, carry on.
Yes.
Sorry, we went off on a big, massive tangent there. We've gone round the roundabout there.
Yeah. So basically, when I finished my degree, and it's kind of like, I guess that's as much history as I do. So now I do sort of independent, slightly more, I was going to say casual research, but it's not. Like, it can't be casual. I spend so much time doing it. But so I specifically research and write about disability history.
Mm-hmm.
By not doing it academically, it means that I sort of do bits from all over the place, rather than if you are sort of working in a very academic field, you go to, this particular person or this particular really specific time frame.
Yeah.
So it allows me to do bits of everything all over the place. So I've been doing that for a few years now, and sort of, a couple of articles here and there, and, blog posts and magazines and things like that.
Nice.
It's good fun. It's really interesting. A lot of people don't know the history of our community, and it's kind of that, even when it is out there, it's in very academic language. So it's kind of, even our own history isn't accessible.
Yeah.
I think that what you do, Daisy, especially with with your blog and things, I read that quite a lot. It makes it sound like I'm an absolute stalker, but I'm not. But it's because I think I've got a huge passion for disability and being an advocate, and I've also got a huge passion for history. So it would make sense that I would go and seek out stuff that I could sort of learn about relating to the advocacy side of things. I mean, what would you say is your favourite period of? I mean, you say you do all over, and it's every bit of history. What would you say is your favourite bit of history to learn about? Because I mean, we like you say, we know about wars, and we know bits and pieces about different periods, but it's not. There's some areas that not many people know at all, unless you are really a fan of it.
Yeah, it's tricky. A lot of what you end up researching is specific people. Because there'll be certain people where more is written about them than the others. Some will have like a single line in a book somewhere. So I remember one of the earlier blog posts I did was really interesting. It was sort of one of the sultanates in sort of ancient Egypt, called the Mamluk Empire.
Right.
I mean, that was really interesting. It was just so long ago, and all of these different. It was Al Nasir Muhammad, I believe, is the name of the guy's. But he has about 16 different names, which they use interchangeably. So when you're reading about him, you have to learn all of them.
It's like his nicknames.
Basically, yeah.
You see that still with modern royals, though, don't you? It is a bit like the Duke and Duchess of this place, Lord and Saviour of such and such, and you're just like, just call him Prince Harry.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him as Fred,
But yeah, it gets very confusing. But he was the Sultan about 3 times over.
Wow.
With periods in between where he buggered off and then came back again. They wrote him a nice song to make him come back. They sang "Bring Us the Lame One."
Wow, that's nice.
Can we have that as my personal theme tune, please?
Yeah, but within that same book that I was reading about him was also another man who's the same era and kind of on the fringes of that same sort of sultanate.
Yeah.
But there wasn't quite enough about him for an entire post because he became disabled after falling headfirst into a melon.
I mean, as accidents go, I mean, that's one to...
They gave no further details.
Funniest thing I've ever fucking heard.
I was desperately trying to figure out how it was even possible. Was he trying to smell it? Was he just leaning off a really high ledge?
Did he fall off a horse into a load of melons and whack his head?
They wrote that he became disabled afterwards, but no sense of what actually happened. So I don't know whether maybe he lost his vision or lost his hearing or had a brain injury.
Maybe he got a melon pip stuck up his nose or something. Or
melons aren't known for being incredibly hard. Generally, you hit a watermelon with something, it goes splat. So
I don't know. Maybe Mamluk melons are very, very different.
No, maybe.
That's the funniest thing I've ever fucking heard. I cannot believe I just laughed like that into my microphone as well.
I am known as being incredibly clumsy. I have fallen out of my chair through sneezing before, but it really hurt. But
sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
But that's made me feel a bit better because at least I will never injure myself on a melon.
Oh, well, Luce, you're only 33. There's still time.
Also, if it does help, one of my Facebook memories came up. I think it was last week or the week before, which was 9 years ago when I tripped over the oven.
I mean, you tripped over the oven?
Yep.
Wow.
It was 9 years ago, so I can't remember any of the details around it. I can only remember what I put on Facebook at the time.
Yeah, that you tripped over the oven.
Yeah.
Crikey.
And this is why you should learn about disability history.
I think we found the title of our episode.
So going back to you sort of talking about there not being a lot of I'm being professional now, can you tell?
Yeah.
Going back to you mentioned about disability history and there not being a lot of representation of disability history and our community. Do you want to take a minute to tell us a little bit about how you identify as a disabled and chronically ill person, Daisy, so that the listeners can understand sort of where you're coming from?
Yeah, so I have multiple chronic issues, many of which can be explained by the sort of, one diagnosis that I got after 25 years, which I imagine is a similar scenario to a lot of people who would be listening.
Yeah.
So, relatively abled child.
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself, non-disabled up until I was about 14, 15.
Right.
So I think next year I will be reaching the point where I will have been disabled for as long as I was non-disabled.
Right, okay.
I'm planning a party.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, so I was sort of a teenager when that started, all with, back things, confusing pain. Are you sure you're not just growing? Maybe it's just having a back that's causing you problems. All that. Spent a long time trying to figure that out. And then after a trip to India, I got very, very ill. I was still living in Plymouth at that point because that's where I grew up. Mm. And so obviously because I'd just come back from India and I was suddenly very, very ill, there was a lot of, infectious and tropical diseases specialists. Mm. But in Plymouth, all the tropical diseases specialists are Navy doctors.
Right.
So that wasn't too bad. Mm. So then I was diagnosed with lupus. Mm-hmm. And we all got very distracted from the other things. Yeah. Because, in fairness, I will grant them that. It probably was more important to make sure I didn't die. Yeah. So, can't get too mad at them for that.
No.
So I don't know. The only thing I know about lupus is from watching House and the fact that it's never lupus. But obviously it was lupus this time.
Yes.
What does lupus mean? What does it do?
So it's an autoimmune disease. So my immune system has started attacking itself.
Oh, that's helpful.
It's really, really handy. It was really great. It's just sort of, it doesn't like me.
No.
It's every part of my body it sees as like, an infection or a virus or something, and kind of, builds up all the white cells and just goes, let's fuck that up.
Yeah.
And so I'm on sort of like a chemotherapy, like a low dose chemotherapy. So I was shielding for most of this year to try and sort of keep your immune system in check, which to be fair does pretty well. So often, in my case, I've been relatively stable for a while, and it's only now we're starting to think about having to do other things as well.
Right.
So it's to be honest, of all of the things, it's been causing me the least of my problems for a long time.
Yeah.
It's generally okay until it's not, and then when it's not, it's really not good.
Yeah, when it kicks off, when it really kicks off, it kicks off.
Yeah. So when I was really ill the first time, there's sort of like a period of about 9 months I just don't remember.
Right.
Wow.
So I lost most of my hair, and I was sort of only awake for kind of like 2 hours of the day.
Gee.
I've missed 6 months of school. Yeah, my mum tells me a lot about it.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
No.
Did you remember when this happened? No. Oh, that was during that 9 months when you were asleep. Yeah, then no, I probably won't remember that.
That's when you're hibernating.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so it's only after they got that under control that we started looking into why all of my joints were doing extra weird things.
Yeah.
Should that kneecap be there? And apparently, no, it shouldn't. And so, many will not be surprised to learn that I was then diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out how to deal with that, because even though I am seen by rheumatologists for the lupus, they're often the department that EDS gets given to.
Yeah.
Almost sort of not because they're actually supposed to be doing it, but because they don't know what else to do.
Yeah, they don't know where else to put it, so they put it there.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, so they've got no idea what to do with me. I got officially diagnosed, and then they went, excellent, well done, good job. And
so off you go then.
Yeah, so I haven't really had any treatment for it at all. I've just kind of been making it up. Yeah, so I've been seeing an osteopath recently, but I've managed to find an osteopath who I really like. She's not ableist at all.
I think it really makes a difference, doesn't it, when you've got like a GP or a medical practitioner who just kind of gets it. So I had a GP who was retired now, very sadly. I didn't get to see him before we retired because of the Rona. That he just got understood like me completely. He did keep saying that I'd got spina bifida when actually I'd got cerebral palsy, and when I corrected him, he goes, "Yes, that's what I meant." But other than that, he was absolutely brilliant. I can remember going to the doctor's one evening in complete and utter pain because it had just got too much, and I was crying. And it takes a lot for me to cry about pain and stuff. And they called me into the doctor, and he opened the door, and I was like, he was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Everything's hurting." He was like, "Come in, sit down. Come and sit down. It's all going to be all right." And literally, we worked through it together. I keep going back every like 3 months to see him just to say, "I'm all right. Everything's all right." But he still wants to see me, even though I'm saying I'm all right, just in case anything gets worse again. And I think once you can find a medical professional that gets it, it's just such a weight off, isn't it? Because you think, I've got to explain everything again. And
I delayed moving once so that I wouldn't have to leave my GP who got it. I lived in Bath for like an extra year past when I really wanted to.
Yeah.
I went to university in Bath and then moved over to Bristol, where I am now. And I put off that move for a good year because I didn't want to leave my GP.
Yeah, we moved out of the town I live in now. We lived outside of it for 5.5 years, and I just refused to tell anybody that I'd moved. So I just had to go, and whenever I had to go to the doctors, I'd just go and stay at my mum's house and be like, I hope I never have to have emergency care because otherwise I'm fucked. But it was worth the risk because my GP, and now we're back, and we went into the surgery and I re-registered, and I specifically said, "Oh, can I be registered with this doctor?" And then me and my husband have got to do like medicals for signing up again and stuff. And he was like, "Oh, how come you're with that doctor and I'm just with random Dr. X?" And I'm like, "Because I made a fuss. Like, I want this doctor." And I waved my guide dog at them, and they were like, "Oh, all right."
It just makes such a difference. It really does. And when somebody understands you, you're like, "Oh, thank hallelujah."
Yeah, and it's not just kind of those primary care people.
No,
like I still see the optician that I've seen for my entire life, which, you know, it's a relatively long journey down to Plymouth, but often it kind of comes around Christmas time.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But
yeah, I still go to the hospital in London to get my eyes test every 18 months because they could do it at the hospital around here, but you know, Moorfield to know what they're fucking doing. Even though I see a different person every time, they know what they're doing and they're just a bit more on it than even the ophthalmology department in my local hospital, because they're used to seeing grannies with cataracts.
Well, you know, my optician's been the optician for, you know, my whole family for a really long time. And so he knows when, you know, they know when something might be, you know, oh, because all of your family's eyes are weird like that. But also he was the one who told me that there were all of these extra things that could happen with my eyes because of my various conditions. No one else had actually told me that. He knows how medications interact and, you know, what to look out for. And, you know, I have had to have, you know, a couple of like emergency, you know, eye appointments with people up here, and I'm having to tell them, which is, you know, obviously we're all used to doing that. I think it's safe to say a lot of us are very used to having to be the ones to inform.
Yes.
But I'm just so tired. I'm really tired.
It really is exhausting.
Like, with medical like it's one thing having to do it with like Joe Blogs on the street, but like read it's all in my notes.
When I go to the if I go to a new specialist for whatever reason, you can guarantee within 5 minutes of me getting on the examination bed, somebody will go, "Oh, does it mind if you bring the student in?" So they come in, there's like 3 or 4 at a time, like Oompa Loompas, like, "Oh yeah." So the student physio, he goes, "You're bearing in mind, I'm doing physio, so it's hurting." And he went, "Your condition is fascinating." I was like, "It's really helpful, mate. It's really helpful."
Yeah, I mean, you do. I've had that, but used it to my advantage before. I have had to have cataracts out of both of my eyes, and I was 20 when they did it. And normally when they do cataracts, they only do it under local anaesthetic. And I basically, it was the head of surgery who was looking at my eyes because, I've got comorbidities. And I just went, "I'm not having it done unless you put me under general anaesthetic. I'm 20, I'm not 80. I'm not going to die if you put me under general anaesthetic." And the head of surgery was so keen to see what the inside of my eyes looked like that he was like, "Yeah, fine. Fucking no skin off my nose.
Let me just have a poke around while I'm there." Yeah.
I was like, "That's fine. As long as I don't have to be awake while you're doing it, I have no problems with that."
Always had the students. It's like they're following me personally. Really deeply concerning how many strangers have seen my bum. There's no way around that.
There is that thing, isn't there, where when you've got a disability of any kind, there is that level of no privacy. You can kiss goodbye to sort of privacy, really, because at the end of the day, I need you to help me with this, and unfortunately, we're going to have to see things that neither of us want each other to see, but we're just going to have to suck it up and get on with it. It's a very weird situation to find yourself in. So I have a PA that comes to work with me, and a lot of people are always like, she's basically there for my personal care needs. So so the first day you meet one another, I was like, yeah. So she comes in and we say hi, hellos, and I'm telling her all about, and then at least about 25-45 minutes in, I'm like, "Could you help me go to the toilet now, please?" And it's like, and they're all like, I wouldn't be able to do that. I was like, "Well, it's either that or I wet myself. So which would you rather?"
Yeah.
But it is that kind of being quite blasé about it now. Like, "Oh, do you want to have a look at this?" Kind of thing.
Apparently the non-disabled aren't used to that.
No.
When you just sort of suddenly go, "Hey, do you want to feel my rib?"
Yeah.
Like, my rib's in a really weird place. Feel it.
Squishy thing that's sticking out of me here. Can you feel that? It's that.
Yeah. I keep doing that to strangers. Apparently that's not normal.
No.
People don't do that.
We're brilliant dinner party guests, really, aren't we, to be fair?
Yeah. Hey, look at this.
Brilliant.
Well, you see, I obviously have different experience of parties because everybody's like, hey, look at this. And I'm like, I can't.
I mean, one of the diagnostic criteria for EDS is genuinely, did you used to freak people out with the things that you could do? That is one of the diagnostic criteria. It was whether you did tricks in the playground when you were a kid.
So what are the characteristics of EDS then? How does it sort of manifest?
So it's a genetically faulty collagen.
Right.
So unfortunately, an awful lot of me is made up of collagen, as it turns out.
Right.
And it's all rubbish. So, like your ligaments are made up of collagen. It's kind of like the bits that's holding you all together. And so usually, say if someone, had an accident and they, say, dislocated their knee, the ligament would stretch out too far, which would allow the kneecap to fall back into place. Right. And then as part of the healing process, it would start, going back.
Yeah.
It would start knitting together and start going back to how it was before. Often, people say that it's never quite the same after that, but for the most part, it goes back. Essentially, with EDS, the chances are once you've dislocated, a joint once, you're likely to do it again because it doesn't knit back properly, because it's kind of like the ability of it to hold itself together isn't doing great. So that'll be in your joints, in your ligaments, but also, it's all in your organs as well. So this is why people with EDS tend to have like really widespread symptoms, which all seem so different and so, you know, it doesn't seem like they should fit together.
I suppose it's one of those things. Once you know that it's about the collagen, you kind of go, oh, well, of course, because that's everywhere. But until then, you're like, well, how does this person have a problem with their feet and their hips and their heart?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like, you know, why would I be bad at digesting beans because, you know, I'm very short-sighted? Like, why would you think that? Why would you think that those are related?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I've heard of EDS, but I've never really quite understood like how it affects somebody. I know that, you know, it affects sort of all sorts, but I've never really understood like the main thing it affects. It's quite interesting.
Well, and collagen is an interesting one. As somebody who is obsessed with starting to look older now that I'm in my 30s, I've done a lot of like reading about collagen and you know how it's the thing that keeps you looking young, basically.
Wait, so I'm going to age really, really prematurely?
No, I didn't
Brilliant.
say that.
Looking forward to that.
Nice one, Alex.
No wonder I never get ID'd.
I never do either, and I think it's because people think, oh, bless her, she's made the effort to come out of the house, let's give her a
But it's like, it is one of those, like, it's one of those things that your body produces in a very specific way. So once, I guess, your body sort of fucks up the way it's producing it, you're kind of screwed. And I mean, that happens with us all naturally with aging, that just after a while your body starts to go, no, you don't need that no more. And I did a load of reading on trying to get like supplements for and there's not, where there are some supplements that you can take and it will encourage your body to start producing things. Collagen's not one of those things, so there's not a lot of kind of treatment options, I imagine. It's more about kind of management.
Yeah. So yeah, there are plenty of you know, well-meaning people who will sort of, you know, say to their friends or relatives with EDS, it's like, oh, here's some collagen supplements, you know, things like that. Obviously, that is absolutely no bloody difference if just the actual production of your collagen is wrong. It's like, oh, more faulty collagen. It's exactly what I wanted.
Collagen in, but it doesn't necessarily come out in the packet the way you want it to. You know what I mean? It's that.
Yeah. It'll still, you know, come out with like, I mean, I don't know what the visual representation of faulty collagen is. Maybe just sort of like a cell with a bite taken out of it or something. It is all in management, certainly as it is. But unfortunately, a lot of the management that you really should be doing, you should be doing really, really young. Before often you're showing symptoms. You know that, I mean, so hopefully some of those things will, you know, benefit the next generation. So, you know, there are a lot more people being diagnosed with EDS now. And so when those people go on to have children, then they may well be able to, you know, do those more sort of conservative management type things.
Is it an inherited thing?
Yeah. Okay. So my sister also has it.
Okay.
And, well, to be fair, I think it's the case for a lot of people, but particularly in the area where my family lived, you don't have to go all that far back before you just don't have records.
Right.
So
I thought you were going to say it's Devon, like particularly where you live, everybody's related, so everybody's got it. I was like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. Everybody's got an extra thumb.
Yeah, that is Cornwall and Wales.
Hey, I'm half Welsh. Let's just leave it at Cornwall, shall we?
But yeah, so you know, it's only sort of as far back as, say, you know, my grandparents, where, you know, we know that, say, for example, my grandma was very ill as a young woman. We don't know what it was. They never told her. You know, she was in hospital. The doctors did all of their stuff, you know, barely talking to the patient. They didn't tell them what the problem was. It was just, oh, it's sorted. Off you go.
Yeah. And
so she never knew what it was. So there is a really decent chance that for an awful lot of people who do have EDS but don't necessarily know where it's come from, that obviously there are signs further back in the family, just that no one was able to know.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, like when me and my sister were diagnosed, we started, you know, asking our parents. My parents are divorced, so obviously they said it was the other one. Not in an aggressive way or anything, but we asked, my mum and my dad whether there'd been, any record in our family of sort of, people dislocating things with, getting a lot of sprains and things with relatively little
explanation.
Incident. And my dad said, yes, your Granny Bunny, we called her Granny Bunny because her name was Bernie, but we couldn't say that with the kids, so it's Bunny.
That's really
your Granny Bunny, she did dislocate her knee. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. What happened? She fell off a cliff.
That would explain why she dislocated her knee.
Yeah.
That's allowed.
Yeah. Blimey.
Also, apparently she punched it back into place.
You're hard as nails, you lot, aren't you?
Fucking hell.
That is your fault at that point. If that continued to dislocate after you fell off a cliff and then punched it back into place, that is your fault.
If you did not seek medical attention and it keeps doing it, then it's on your head, be it.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, there is also a good chance that, say, both of my parents had, the gene where they didn't have it themselves but passed it on to the two of us. Because
that's what my parents. Mine's a recessive gene, so it's only me. I'm the only person other than a very, very my dad's cousin's son is the only other person in my huge family that has RP because it's recessive, and so it's one of those things where you kind of go. It's something like 1 in 300,000 people have RP, so it's quite common. So we really don't know with my condition whether it's a freak genetic mutation or if it happened and it just happened to happen twice in one family, or if my parents happen to be carriers and his parents happen to be carriers, and it just that's how we got it. So
yeah. So inevitably there are highly likely to be some of the cases of the various types of EDS, which are those sorts of genetic mutations, but they have no idea what genes are causing and so obviously until you find that, you can't figure out why. But I mean, to be honest, with the amount of people who have it seems quite likely that it's more than one.
There are 200 and something genes that cause RP, and I don't have any of them.
Oh, so, well done.
yeah, I know.
Congratulations, Alice.
I think it's just that there are millions and millions of genes in the world, and they just haven't worked out what all of them do yet. So there's bound to be some that they're like, oh, we thought this caused people to be short, but actually it also causes RP.
Yeah, it's like those DNA tests. They go, oh, do you want to do one of those tests and you can sequence your genome, and then maybe research in the future will be able to find out which gene causes the thing. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, yeah. But then, I've read all too many stories about people doing those DNA tests and they find out some kind of really deep, dark family secret. And you're like, I don't want to find out that, my dad isn't my dad.
No, we did. That's where they did the gene test for my RP. So I had it, my dad had it, and my brother had it. Me and my brother have got the same face. So literally, now that he's turning into a proper grown-up man, his face is becoming more distinctly masculine, and so looking a bit different. But we both look very similar, and we both look like my dad. So that wasn't kind of a worry, thankfully.
Oh yeah, I mean, we do both have, very clearly traits of our dads. My sister's, in particular, was his nose, which she's always been quite annoyed about. I think it's a perfectly fine nose. But
I've got my dad's nose, and I hate it.
I've got my dad's nose.
Huge.
I've got my dad's nose, and when I was playing Ebenezer Scrooge in a Christmas play, don't ask. They basically just put a beard on me, and I looked in the mirror when they were like, "You ready to go?" I was like, and I looked at, and I was like, "It's my dad. I'm my dad," because my nose and my eyes are like my dad's.
Yeah.
Daisy, how do you think? I mean, going back to the history side of things, so obviously you know a lot about disability history, which you shall be imparting on both me and Alice.
No pressure.
You like it or not.
You will sit down and you will listen and you will learn. So obviously, you know quite a bit about the journey that disabled people have had to go on to get to the stage we are now in society. Whether you feel that is a good, we're in a good place or a bad place, I don't know. Do you think it's changed for the better? And how far do you reckon we have to go? And what is the one thing that you would think, actually, if we crack this, we've nailed it?
So the thing that tends to surprise people about disability history is that people do kind of have this assumption that it's always been really terrible. You know, we've always been treated badly, shut away in a box and all of that. And it was, you know, only recently that it's started to get better. And so, you know, you should be grateful to live in a time like now rather than at a time back in history. You know, I don't know if you've heard similar things, but, you know, I've seen that quite a few times with sort of, oh, you shouldn't be, you know, protesting and angry about this now. Think how much worse it would have been back then. And there are certainly points when it has been bad, but not, it's a much more recent thing. You know, locking away disabled people in, you know, workhouses, or, you know, this kind of idea that they're a drain on society or a burden or any, that is much more recent than people think.
Really?
Yeah. So as we know, it's kind of, you know, healthcare, medical care, you know, workplace safety, all of that wasn't a thing, you know, for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
So disability and chronic illness was much more common.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you know, it was just something that happened to people. If you didn't die very young from something, you'd be left with a disability, and that was fine. It was just a normal thing.
Yeah.
You know, it was often a group responsibility to help out with anyone who was disabled, but that was the same for everybody.
Yeah.
It was, you know, anybody who was sick or, you know, had been injured, or whether it was longer term, you know, it was more of a group, you know, say with arms and, you know, given to churches, and you know, the churches would look after people. It was only really the sort of Industrial Revolution when all of a sudden the only thing that mattered was how quickly and how many times you were able to do the same task.
Yeah.
Before, you know, people were working as sort of crafts people, or, you know, they were, I mean, you know, this is now going to really stereotypical. These are just examples of, the, you know, if you're a blacksmith or a you know, woodworker or any of that sort of thing, and you acquired a disability or a chronic illness, you just found your adaptation.
Oh, you worked around it
and carried on.
Yeah,
you worked around it because that is the craft that you're skilled at.
Yeah.
Well, and you had no other choice. It's not like there was a welfare state or anything. It was you worked or you starved.
Yeah, you know, there was still obviously there was help around from people. You know, churches and monasteries and nunneries in particular have always been a great sort of source of that. Kind of like the earliest hospitals were. I was going to call it a monkery. That's not right.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Not a monastery. No,
monastery.
Monastery's the right word. Yeah,
monastery. That was it. This monastery, monkery.
So that's like the fraternity for monks, where it's like they get hazed and they've got to drink 12 pints and then do a cartwheel. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the monasteries were kind of, you know, early hospitals, but they were for, you know, if someone was giving birth or all of that.
Yeah.
So, but it was just normal. It was only really when, you know, all of a sudden your worth became about how much money you could make for someone else.
So it was like your worth was married with your productivity during the Industrial Revolution.
So what you're saying is capitalism has always been evil?
Yes.
I'm so surprised.
But yeah, so this idea that, you know, disabled people are a drain is much more recent. And so I don't necessarily think that we're in the best place we ever have been.
No.
We certainly have a long way to go because we're still not really considered part of society.
No.
Still, I don't think.
No.
Particularly, this is an extremely topical reference. It'll be old news by the time this goes anywhere.
Yeah, this isn't going to come out for like 12 weeks.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Priti Patel just sort of, no, it wasn't Priti Patel. Esther McVeigh.
Oh yes.
Just yesterday, as we're recording, saying that she wants to stop focusing on discrimination against disabled people because it's too fashionable.
Liz Truss, that's who it was.
Was it Liz Truss?
Liz Truss. They look
I
very
always
similar.
get Liz Truss and Esther McVeigh mixed up.
No, but she, what she was saying was basically people are kicking up this huge fuss about equality for different marginalized groups, but they're only doing it because it's fashionable. It's not a legitimate issue. And you sort of go, I'm sorry, love. Have you lived? I mean, she has lived as a marginalized person because she's a woman. So surely she's experienced those, closed doors and barriers and things. But she's obviously not, aware that there are other options, and that it's society that closes those doors, not ourselves.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I've been doing a history project in my local area in Bristol, where I've been interviewing, doing oral histories from a lot of activists from the sort of 80s and 90s.
Right.
Okay.
And a really resounding, a really common thing that they were saying in their various interviews was about how we seem to have gone backwards from when they were, having to do a lot of this work. And it's quite a few of the interviews are almost a call of action to us and other young disabled people that we have to organise and not let this go by, because we're going to start losing some of the things that they did manage to successfully fight for. So even the Disability Discrimination Act was incredibly controversial at the time, because a lot of disabled people felt that it didn't go far enough. And now it's been replaced by the Equality Act. It's even less so, arguably.
And with us leaving the European Union, we're going to lose a load of disability and sort of health and safety regulations that are in place because of things that have happened to disabled people and people with health and wellness issues, because people have said, oh well, that's a barrier to commerce, and and you're sort of going, well, we had to fight to get those. Some of that legislation is older than I am, and now they're taking it away, and you sort of go, look at how old, you're going as far back in history as I am, tall. That doesn't make sense. I've done a bunch of shit in my life. How are you basically undoing all of that by undoing these legislations and these, the hard fought battles?
Disability history is a very important part of advocacy, because to me, this is why I'm so grateful that Daisy's come on board to work alongside us on this project. We're shedding a light on people's perceived labels in this podcast, and being able to learn a bit more about the history of how far people have come to me, it means that I'm showing respect, because I'm becoming knowledgeable about the people that have gone before us, who've worked so hard to get where I am now. And I know that things aren't perfect, but it's because of the people that have gone before me that I am here, and I can have a job, and I can get out of the house. And we may find it difficult at times, but it's because of the people previously.
Well, and I think it goes back to that point that Daisy was making earlier as well, about the fact that actually this kind of exclusion and hiding away of disability and illness is a recent thing. Just, by understanding that and understanding our history and the history of disability in general. And I think, you look at any minority, the history of minority representation and, the social kind of construction and treatment of different minorities, is you learn that it is socially constructed and that individuals have fought for it. And it's for all those people who go, oh, well, but, look, history doesn't just show you how far you've come. History also shows you the potential of what you could have.
Absolutely. And I definitely think that being able to go, you know, I think it's like anything though, isn't it? It's like learning about your family history, being respectful to your family's history. It's the same thing. It's learning about our community's history and our past, and the you know, well, understanding why sometimes disabled people can be a bit grumpy and a bit gruff and a bit acidic to other people. But yeah, it's about learning about your community's history. That's just respectful and being able to learn about, because actually they're a lot older than me, and they have probably fought so hard for stuff, and then they turn around and they get people going, so why are you in a wheelchair then? Like, and you can you're like, oh, again. Like, I'm probably going to end up as one of those acidic, miserable old bats, probably.
Well, and I think, you know, you sit there, I do it not so much for disability, but for other, you know, like I consider myself a feminist. I'm a bit of a like animal rights person, and you know, like fox hunting, I can remember being like, absolutely, what the fuck is going on, and kicking up a huge fuss and getting it all, you know, fox hunting is banned. It's just barbaric. I'm sorry to I can't imagine there's a lot of crossover in the Venn diagram of people who like to go fox hunting and people who listen to this podcast, but
you never know.
For the handful who are out there, it's fucking barbaric and disgusting. I don't know what's wrong with you. But then, and it, you know, we got the law changed, and then within what seemed like 10 minutes, the Conservative government were like, oh, well, we could put in drag hunting. So, and then if your dog happens to catch a fox, it's not our fault that you've trained the dog to catch and murder foxes in a really horrific, violent way. It's just an accident of, that's what happens when you go out on a horse with some dogs. And it's like, you kind of go, we fought so hard for this, and that just some fucking rich, white, able-bodied man has gone, no, that's not what I want to do. I don't like that. And it's just changed it with a fucking click of his fingers. And so I can understand people who are older than us and who have been campaigning for, 40 years going, wait, what do you mean you're getting rid of the DDA?
Yeah.
We fucking broke our neck for that, and you're getting rid of it now. Like, I'd be pissed off.
Yeah, particularly as there are some parts of the DDA which still haven't fully been implemented.
Yeah. You're like, just finish the plan first before you start fucking about with it.
It's build the house you planned on building before knocking it down to build a new one.
Yeah, you just think to yourself, oh, okay.
I think we're going to have a lot of sort of really interesting conversations about this. I wondered if, Daisy, if you wanted to sort of talk to us a little bit about maybe some of the things that you're particularly looking forward to doing with us, any of the stories you're really looking forward to telling, any ideas that you've got that, we maybe haven't even discussed yet. It could be like an exclusive, but like what are you hoping?
Oh my God, we've got homework and everything.
Yeah, what do you want to, what are you looking forward to about being our history teacher?
Well,
it's not the pay, I can tell you that.
just so that people know that it's there. It's the lack of teaching of disability history is such like a missed opportunity. It feels like, because it's like we waste, we use so much of our time being made to feel bad for whatever it is, that we're taking up too much space, that we're taking up too much time, that our access requirements are too much. And the learning about and knowing our history is such a great way to feel that sort of pride. When you find out about someone who's just really cool, and or you read about something that this group of people did, or how these people fought back. It's I sometimes feel people struggle with the idea of a disabled community which isn't centered around medical issues.
Yeah.
You know, most people within the community do follow, obviously, the social model of disability. However, the, you know, current forefront problem that a lot of people in our community are having is medical. It's medical treatment and medical access and things like that. And so, you know, if you're not in a position where you feel comfortable, I guess, medicalizing your disability, then the community can sometimes feel that the community is medicalized.
Well, and I think there's also, because disability and chronic illness, everybody's experience is so diverse and different. You know, you're just looking at the three of us, our disabilities and our needs are all really different. You know, there are things that I can access that Lucy can't access, and vice versa. You know, and that's something that I think also people find quite difficult to kind of integrate outside of their sort of specific condition or specific sort of access needs. You know, and I think looking at disability history is another really nice way of kind of going, well, this person is an icon across the sort of the community.
There are really cool people who will just kind of, I guess, you know, it sounds like a cliche in my head to say it, but defy the expectations. Not necessarily of, you know, us as disabled people, chronically ill people, all of that, but to other people. So, you know, at some point, I would very much like to tell the stories of some of the people who were involved in sideshows.
Yeah.
So what we now deem as freak shows. A lot of people, you know, kind of use the terms interchangeably. However, the stories of a lot of them is very not as sad, I suppose.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
anticipating.
You look at the what's his fucking name? Is it Todd Hopper? Somebody like that. The 1930s films Freaks, which is literally a freak show, and it's, you know, one of us, and it's like, actually, that should be a real kind of call to community to be like, yeah, actually embrace it. You are one of us.
Yeah.
You've got needs, and that's awesome that you recognize it. But that film's fucking horrible because it shows disabled people as being monstrous.
However, it does also disabled people playing themselves.
True. It's true. It's a really interesting, I talked about it in my master's degree. It's a really interesting piece of it sort of, it challenges some things, but then it also really undercuts itself as well. Yeah.
I suppose it's one of those tossing up of the time versus the content. So, you know, in terms of disability representation for, what was it, 1932?
Something
that was
like that,
out.
Yeah.
That's very good representation for that time. It's a shame they pulled it immediately.
Yeah.
You know, people didn't want to look at disabled people.
Yeah. And we were quite scared, really, first thing in the morning.
Yeah. But yeah, there's some, for example, some women that I was reading about just last night. You know, it was a letter to the editor of a newspaper in the 20s or 30s. It's really a long letter, and it was about this particular slideshow that he'd gone to see, which was entirely women missing limbs.
Okay.
So I believe there were two women who were, as he called, limbless. One who had one leg, and one set of twin acrobats who each lost a leg during a trapeze accident.
Oh,
but the opposite one, so that they carried on doing their tricks together.
Did they land on a melon?
Yeah, was there fruit involved?
Cannot confirm.
Did they slip on a strawberry?
Banana skin on the trapeze.
But basically, but you shouldn't be in exotic fruit on a trapeze. That's just asking for trouble.
No. But this entire letter, it was like the 20s manifestation of "Don't get horny on Maine."
Yeah,
like it was entirely about, you know, oh, when they looked so lovely. She was only wearing like a little silk nightie.
So making me
this
feel
was
sick.
but this was entirely, this is by the women themselves
Right.
who've done this show. This is
So it's, yeah.
self-determination.
Yeah.
This is a way of them making money. And so basically they're fit and they know it.
Yeah.
So they've specifically done it so that, you know, they're showing them how they're, you know, doing their hair.
Yeah.
And so there is a certain amount of, you know, demonstration, but it's, you know, they're very specifically, you know, wearing silky, sexy clothes.
That reminds me a lot in the current modern day of people who are disabled devotees. So I don't know if you know about devotees, but they are people who fantasize and are sexually aroused by watching people struggle who've got a disability. So it could be like, oh, you've got nice deformed feet, or you know, oh, it's really nice seeing you struggle. Which like the thought of it just makes me want to puke.
I absolutely understand where you're coming from, and this goes against my sort of core beliefs as a sort of a socialist. But you know what? If some weird old rich bloke wanted to like whack off in the corner while I struggled to read something and pay me £1 million for it,
they never want to pay you though.
I was going to say that's the thing, because I'm going to struggle to read something anyway. So fucking pay me for it. If you're a weirdo, that's absolutely fine. And I think it's about that agency, isn't it? It's, you know, the people in that sideshow were going, well, you know, you're going to stare at me anyway. Yeah. So why don't I make some coin out of it?
Yeah. And it's important that, you know, they specifically didn't struggle as would be the case with sort of, you know, devotees and things like that. It was kind of, you know, they are very skilled at doing these things. They know exactly how to move themselves so that the little silk gown that they're wearing will just drop down slightly over the hip.
That's playing the disability cards like proper, isn't it? Really, like
kind of, yeah. So apparently all of them had their own specific methods as well for when men and women would try and kiss them afterwards.
Oh God! I think it's interesting as well, because I think it's one of those things that you see in like in feminism and things like that, is that there was a lot of fight for a long time about women being looked at and the kind of being objectified for being looked at and things like that. And so there was this pushback of, you know, well, if she wears a short skirt, she's going to get looked at. Well, it's that, well, on the other side of it, if you're a woman and you know you look damn good wearing a short skirt, then you can wear that for yourself. You're not wearing it for the sake of some guy. You're not wearing it to get looked at. And the problem is the person who's looking at you and objectifying you. That's where the issue comes from. The issue doesn't come from your choice to show off your body. And, you know, that's exactly this situation for these ladies, is that they're going, well, again, you're going to look anyway. So let me show you what I can do. This is me choosing. This is me taking control of it. If you choose to be a weirdo and fetishize it, that's on you.
Yeah, because one of these women, Violetta, she was great. You know, she was one of them they called limbless.
Mm-hmm.
So born without arms or legs at all of the top joints joining the torso.
Okay.
And she said at one point that she didn't see the point of limbs.
I suppose if you've never had them.
She could do everything great. She thought that she looked better without limbs, and she would tell people, I just don't see the point. Like,
to be fair, I have got horrible fat sausage fingers, so
I've got horrible feet.
Yeah.
I've got ET's feet, so you know.
All of them, everything that you can sense that
they've got complete body confidence. Body confidence is a term that's bandied about, and you can be confident in your body, but you can't. Sometimes you don't necessarily like it.
Well, and there's a lot of people who are quote unquote body confident because they look like a supermodel. It's nice that there are people out there who don't necessarily meet those norms and expectations, who are like, yeah, I look fucking banging.
I want some of that body confidence, please. It's really interesting. I'm so looking forward to having these history episodes, and I think that if we play this right, we could have a TV show and a book deal and a separate podcast with just disability history, just fronted by us three.
I definitely think at some point we have to do like our own version of a drunk history.
Yes,
where we just like we pick a phrase that or an idea, and Daisy tells us a story, and every time it comes up it's like, oh, drink.
That sounds like my kind of homework.
Nah.
Yeah.
No, I'm so pleased, Daisy, that you wanted to come on board. I said to Daisy in the early stages of these conversations, I mentioned to Alice, should we get a historian in to sort of like help back up what we want to talk about, maybe take a bit of the pressure off when we're talking, because like we're not historians, we just are interested in facts, and we don't necessarily. It was very difficult.
I think to say we're interested in facts is perhaps inaccurate. I think it's better to say we're interested in history, and we frequently get the facts wrong.
So I basically said, shall I approach a historian and see if we can? And I knew Daisy. I couldn't remember Daisy's name. All I could remember was the person I'm after has got blue hair, and I know that when I see her on Twitter, I'll be like, "Oh, Daisy, can I speak to you, please?" Which is exactly what I did. I was like, "What is her name?" And then when I saw her, I was like, "Oh, Daisy, can I email you?" And then lo and behold, she's on our podcast. So thank you so much.
That's it. Lucky for everyone that I haven't changed my profile picture on Twitter in about 3 years.
Yeah, thank you for that. But I definitely think that it adds a whole other level, doesn't it, to our episodes.
I have to say that's been something that's been really cool, that I've been really surprised about, is that like the random people who I've just reached out to on Twitter or like whatever, and just been like, oh, you wrote this article and I thought it was interesting, do you want to come on the pod? And they're like, yeah. I really thought we would be like desperately going, please, because we can't pay anybody. Although, guys, if you do want to donate to our GoFundMe, nice little segue there.
I've taught her well.
We have got our GoFundMe. You can find it by visiting our website, which is labelpodcast.co.uk. One of the things we would really like to be able to do is pay some of the artists and contributors that we have coming on the show. But yeah, it's been really awesome to, that there have been academics and professionals and stuff that we've reached out to and gone, oh, do you fancy, just putting your 2 cents in, your expertise? And they have been really open to it. It's been really cool.
Alice has often said, if you can find somebody, then yeah, we'll do it. And I'm like, leave it with me. Give me 15 minutes.
And it's been really cool, because there's been so many people where I've just kind of gone, fuck it, we'll ask, we'll see what happens. And they've been like, yeah, sure. Whereas I was absolutely expecting people to be like, fuck off. Who the fuck are you? I don't need to talk to you, you weirdo.
Yeah. It's really encouraging, actually. And I'm just so glad that Daisy said yes, because I think we're going to get on so well with Daisy. And also, I think I will come away from these episodes thinking, I've really learned something today. This is pub quiz knowledge, and it's going in my head, and it's stored under pub quiz. So next time I win a pub quiz, Daisy, I think I should split the winnings with you, because I can guarantee I'll clinch it on a history question.
It'd be a really specific pub quiz.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for wanting to be part of this and listening to us drivel on for an hour and a half, Daisy.
Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you're like, this is the one message I really want to hammer before we finish recording for today?
Is there anything you want to promote, maybe, or?
Yes, I should do that.
Okay.
I'm running the COVID Disability Archive. The archive is going to be a digital, fully accessible archive of artifacts related to disabled, chronically ill, neurodiverse, mentally ill, everybody, for things related to COVID. So long, our experiences are often sort of forgotten and sometimes very specifically ignored. And I don't want that to happen with COVID, disabled people have been hit much harder by the pandemic than, other groups. And maybe not much harder.
I don't know. I think, there are people who are shielding, people who have got, compromised immunities, have not left their house since March.
Yeah, so we've been hit hard, certainly in deaths.
Mm-hmm.
We've hit very hard the disabled community.
The stuff about DNARs for people with learning difficulties.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
Oh shit, man.
Yes.
We did some stuff about that for I work in social care, so we did some stuff about kind of challenging that, and heard stories about a lady who had moderate autism who was 30 and she got coronavirus, and they put her on a DNAR
No,
because
it's just so I at the beginning of the first lockdown, I for about 4 weeks was having a complete panic attack every day, because I think if I catch this thing, I'm going to go to hospital. I'm going to take one look at me in my wheelchair and think, oh yeah, bye bye.
the purpose of a DNAR is that it's a do not attempt resuscitation for people for whom the process of that attempted resuscitation, which of course is, chest compressions and things like that, is going to leave them extremely with an extreme problems with kind of
effects.
Yeah, and problems recovering. So if you've got extremely brittle bones, things like that, if it means attempting to resuscitate you is going to mean that you're going to be in hospital, not able to breathe on your own because of damage to your lungs and ribs for the rest of your life, can perhaps understand why they might consider DNAR. It's supposed to be about whether it's going to be successful and whether it's going to affect your quality of life afterwards. People who are, making the decision based on a person's cognitive abilities and mental, cognitive abilities, mental health, physical health, it's basically deciding that they don't have a quality of life already.
Yeah.
Their life is not worth saving because they don't have a quality of life already.
Yeah. So I'm trying to collect all things like that. So, all of these problems that people have faced, but also just, the mundane day-to-day stuff. We want, research some, people in the future to be able to look back and see what this time was like for the disabled community specifically. So, whether it's the receipt from your particularly large Deliveroo order, or, some of your social media posts from when these things were announced, letters from, like your original shielding letter, or, one of your hospital appointments, which was rescheduled, or, so a lot of submissions I've had so far have been from artists. So it's art that they've made during lockdown, things like that. But basically it's anything is what we want to put in the archive.
During our lockdown, we created a podcast. So,
yeah.
That's what
submit it to the archive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely.
I don't think it's sort of a surprise that it was living during the first lockdown and kind of joining the sort of disabled to quit a community that prompted me to sort of be like, yeah, actually, I want to do this. I want to start a podcast. It's the two. If lockdown had never happened, I probably would never have bothered.
I would probably still be umming and ahhing about it. And I don't think I've said this to you, Alice, but I feel that if it hadn't have been for you sort of going, do you want to do this podcast with me, and giving me something to focus on, God knows where I'd be, because it was on the days where I was really struggling and really low, I'm going to get really teary now. On the days where I was really struggling and really low, it was Alice that was the one who was going, have you thought about this? She was providing that distraction. Whoo!
Lose.
She was providing. Sorry, she was providing. You can leave this in, Adam, because it's quite good stuff. I'm
just to ruin the emotional part of it. She's like, oh, Adam, we can fucking leave this in.
But you provided me with that kind of distraction, even if it was for a few hours or, you know, half a day or something, where things would really kick in and get really bad. Or when I was feeling like I need something to do today, let me just focus on the podcast stuff. It wasn't because, I mean, I was getting stuff done really quickly and you were like, wow, you're really motoring with this. It wasn't because I wanted to, it's because I was just doing it to keep me sane. And I thought, even if it's shit to start off with, it's given me something to do for an afternoon. So I do. I completely believe that it was having this outlet to talk to people through lockdown and talk to Alice and go, do you know what? Things are really crappy. That's made me feel a lot better about this lockdown than the first one. So
yeah,
maybe I should have said that off air where I didn't cry. But
no,
hey,
we've said one of the things we want from this podcast is a place for people to be able to kind of share all of that stuff. You know, having a disability, sometimes it's really fucking hard, and we make jokes and, you know, we're cynical and we're sarcastic and stuff like that, but sometimes I think it's important for our mental health, and I think it's really important for the mental health of people out there who are listening to go that, you know what, whatever it is, even if it's not disability related, we want to be a space where people can share everything, and sometimes that means being sad and being afraid. And, you know, it's I have shared some stories on this podcast that have been hard to share and that have, you know, things I've never told people before, and that's what we want this space to be, because especially, you know, at the moment when everybody is so isolated, if we can have somewhere where people can come and listen and feel like, actually, yeah, that's somebody who understands, that's somebody who's also been there, I think that's going to help. You know, if we help one person, it's going to, I want to foster a sense of community.
And that's the thing. I don't think we ever started off thinking we're going to help people. We just wanted to have a chat about people who'd got labels and gone, this can be a bit crap sometimes, can't it? That kind of thing. We didn't want, but I think it's morphing into something a lot bigger than we ever expected. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's really nice to see.
Yeah.
And, you know, that is partly because of getting contributors, you know, having people who are coming on and talking about their experience of, you know, disability and illness, but also people, you know, like Daisy, who's going to come on and share kind of specialist ideas. And this is turning into something much sort of broader than, and I think it's going to mean different things to different people. There's going to be people who absolutely have no interest in our interview episodes and are like, oh, it's just Alice and Lucy fucking waffling, talking over each other for an hour. Yeah. And there's going to be people who are like, right, I'm only going to listen to, it's part of the reason why I think we should, you know, specifically name Daisy's episodes the history lessons, so that people can be like, yeah, I'm only going to listen to the history lesson episodes because it's more somebody sensible talking and less Lucy crying and Alice swearing.
That is incredibly inaccurate.
Again, there we go. Daisy's first correction on her first show. So that is incredibly inaccurate. If somebody wants to submit anything to the COVID archive, how do they do that? How long is the archive open for? Is there a specific cut-off time? Or
there is no end date to the archive because, you know, history carries on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So all submissions so far, I'm hoping to have the website set up soon, so might be by the time this goes out, where you can submit via website. But in the meantime, you can email coviddisabilityarchive@gmail.com, and I have more information about the archive, as well as, you know, FAQs and things like that on a post on my website, which is daisythechronicinvalid.com.
And we will make sure that all the links to your COVID archive and everything that you've spoken about today, like with your blog and everything, is in the description for this podcast.
Yeah, the show notes, and we'll also make sure it's all up on our website.
So if you scroll down click the links in the description, you'll find all that stuff there. Daisy, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm so pleased you're joining our team.
Thank you for having me. It's been very nice.
Good. We're glad we didn't bore you.
I think that's a perfect way to finish this off.
Thanks for listening to the lABLEd podcast. If you like the show, please rate, review and subscribe. You can follow us on social media at lABLEd podcast.
Our thanks go to our editor Adam Hall, our music composer Maisie Crunden, and our graphic designer Sarah Coley.
We'll see you next time.